Okay, welcome back, everybody. As we continue our moving to Night City episode here, bringing X-Men into Cyberpunk RED. As you can see on the screen, the next X-Man that I have that was suggested is Nightcrawler. Another fantastic character that I greatly enjoy. And, of course, his mutant ability is teleportation. And this one's going to go a little faster because I'm not going to go through my checklist that I normally do. So we're gonna skip most of our options here. I had some ideas prior to the show, and I think for Nightcrawler, because again, we're in a dark future. Technology does exist. Teleportation technology, as far as I know, does not exist in any form in the time of the Red or 2077. That is not available technology. So how do we take teleportation in a way that makes sense, or in a world? Is there a way to bring that into the world in a way that makes sense? And I think that there is, by using it in the net. So Nightcrawler is going to become a booster program. Now, for those of you who don't know, so this is when you add programs to your Cyberdeck, if you were a netrunner, there are booster programs, defender programs, and attacker programs. Boosters tend to be like utility programs, so they help the netrunner in some manner. Where attack programs are to attack, and defense programs help, defend, like shield, right? They get some armor, stuff like that. For a teleportation type program, though, I felt it made the most sense for it to be a booster program. And so, looking at it, there we go. Improves your abilities in the net architecture while it is, the program is rezzed. So we have to come up with, the class is going to be, it doesn't have an attack score, it doesn't have a defense score, but we do need to give it a res score, and then the effect that it's going to do and how much it's going to cost. So it is, the program will be called Nightcrawler. So the class is Booster. The attack is 0. Defense is 0. Res, and this is how many, damage it can take before it gets de-resed by something. All the other booster programs in the core book have a res of 7. If we make it a booster program, I suppose we can plot this out too. I'm just gonna say it has a res of 7 because that makes the most sense. The effect, and here's the thing. My thought was the effect of it would be you can teleport anywhere in the net architecture. I'm gonna say 1 to 3 for now. Times per net run. If you don't know the path forward, the GM rolls, or the GM will decide randomly which floor you end up on. If you can see the path forward, you can teleport to any floor on that path. Either way, I should say, okay. Yes. I don't know if I'm gonna do this once per net run or up to 3. You could always install multiple, like, instances of Nightcrawler if you want to have more. Maybe it's just one. Once per net run. Multiple instances will stack. So if you want to be able to hop around a couple times, teleporting you can do within per net run. I don't know if that's the right wording. Okay, so using a net action, you move to any floor of the net architecture you are currently in. Moving this way takes up your slide ability for the round. So you cannot teleport somewhere if you end up on a floor with a lich and you weren't prepped for it. You can't encounter it and then slide away in the same turn. Teleporting takes up your slide action. Or your slide option. Sure. For the round. If you don't know the path forward, the GM will decide randomly which floor you end up on. If you can see the path forward, so if you use, oh man, what is the Pathfinder? If you use a net action to use Pathfinder first, then you can teleport to wherever you can see. If you can't see it, the GM determines. If I was for the turn, that's what it is. Okay, I was looking up things. If I was a GM, I would say however many floors you're on, you would roll, you know, that dice or whatever to find out which floor they end up on, and good luck to them. And that will help them, like, they can boof, like, bamf past enemies, right, that they can see. So long as they can see the path forward, they can boof without issue. Otherwise, if they want to risk it, they can risk it. If they want to try to get to the base floor and they just want to teleport as far down to that architecture as they can try. They might end up on the next floor and it did absolutely nothing. They might end up on the floor with, say, what is it? Was this like a Cyclops or giant? A giant black ice? Where, you know, if they don't evade it and they get hit, it kicks them through the entire architecture and they get hit by everything on the way out. And that's not going to stop, like, even though they didn't encounter it on the way down, that's not going to stop them from getting hit all the way on the way back out. All those things would still take effect. Why can't I find giant? That is a thing, right? Giant, there it is. Sorry, I didn't scroll. Networks forcibly and unsafely jacked out. They suffer the effect of, they suffer the effect of all rezzed enemy black ice they've encountered. So that's okay. So they would just take, they could get, you know, kicked back out. That's entirely possible, but they wouldn't have to encounter anything because none of the other programs would have rest. So they can avoid some things that way. That's all right. So that was my initial thought for a Nightcrawler booster program. Oh yeah, the other one, like Sia, increases Pathfinder checks by +2 as long as the program remains rest. So the Nightcrawler program could also... Ooh, do we want to have it as an additional thing where it also gives slides a +2 as long as the program remains rezzed? We could do both, I suppose. It doesn't have to be a hardware program. It could just be... One of the effects is it gives a +2 to slides. But in addition, once per net run, you can teleport anywhere in the architecture. I think I like that. I think I really like that. So first effect 1 increases all slide checks you make by +2 as long as the program remains rezzed. And then additionally, once per net run, you can teleport anywhere in that architecture. I'm gonna say no multiples. You can only have one. Or can only benefit from hang on, how do I word this? Only one Nightcrawler, there we go. One Nightcrawler booster program can be rezzed at a time. So Nightcrawler slide checks give you a +2 bonus so long as the program remains rezzed, and then once per net run you can teleport anywhere in the anywhere in the net architecture. And then only one Nightcrawler booster can be rezzed at a time. And teleport is using that action. You can move to any form of net architecture you're currently in. Moving this way takes up your slide. Action, I guess? For the turn. If you don't know the path forward, GM will randomly decide which floor you end up on. You can see the path forward. You can teleport to any floor on that path. I think that makes sense. Yeah? So once per net run, you can just kind of bamf. Otherwise, it increases your... It gives you a bonus to your slide. So outside of that, I think the last thing we need to decide on is price. Now, it's funny because I'm looking at this. Eraser, which is for cloak checks, and Sia, which is for Pathfinder checks, are both 20 EB. But I believe eraser, like the cloak check, is something you generally do at the end of your net run, so you're only ever going to use it once. Pathfinder. It doesn't say you can only use it once. I know, like, Blank has, I think, limited it to once, but I don't see why you can't use it multiple times. Kind of like backdoor, like you can attempt to break through a password multiple times, right? Like there's nothing stopping you. So I feel like you could use Pathfinder multiple times as well. But Worm, which increases all your backdoor checks, which is the Pathfinder one, is 50, and Speedy, which is encountering, is 100. And I feel like Nightcrawler needs to be a minimum 100. I don't know if we want or need it to be higher than that. I don't know if we want, like, expensive. I can't see it being expensive, which is 500. Don't think it would cost that much. So, 100 EB booster program called Nightcrawler. All slide checks you make by +2. Obviously, if you successfully slide, you're going to bamf, right? You go boof boof. Because that's, why wouldn't you? And then once per net run, you can actually, like, cool teleport down. And I feel like if you have, it can be, like, super handy, especially if you use Sia, like if you have the Sia booster in your deck, because that makes any checks at a +2 for as long as the program remains red. So if you hit the first floor and, you know, you break the passcode and you get to the second floor, chances are it's not going to be something that severe. And you pathfind down, if your Pathfinder check is high enough, like if you roll really well or you spend all your luck, plus your interface, plus your roll, you could probably see down the entire net architecture, and then you just go bamf bamf. And that might maybe be a little OP. It might be a little OP. Of course, if there's a branch and you don't know which way to go, yeah, the farthest you're gonna get is to a specific branch. Now that I say that, where you could skip an entire architecture, should I make Nightcrawler a 500 EB program because of the teleportability? Because I'm thinking, okay, so like even if you have a basic netrunner, right? Starting netrunner, interface 4. Say your luck, say you have your starting luck, like your stats were 6. So I'm starting with, if I use all my luck plus, you know, my interface, that's a 10. I'm starting with a 10. It's not a lot. And then my roll. Now, if there's a pass, it only goes as far as, you know, wherever I can get. If I have a Sia, that boosts it to a 12 for a net architecture, plus whatever I roll. And I think DVs for passwords, because the password will stop you if you don't roll high enough. I don't think. I know. A password will stop you if you do not roll high enough. And you can see as many floors down as I think you rolled, or until it, you know, you stop by by a thing. Password and a password DV of 12 is 10,000 EB. That's super luxury. So even if I have SIA and interface 4 and I spend all my luck, I'm at DV12, as long as I don't roll a 1, I can get past any password. And I don't think... Do you lose a number by floor, or do you just see every floor? What is in, not the DV of anything, you see into the net architecture, a number of floors equal to your check or up to the first obstruction with a DV higher than your Pathfinder check, whichever happens first. You can see an entire net architecture, I feel like, with that. With a 12. Because enemies don't have a DV. Right, so you get to see like 12 floors down, and I've never seen a net architecture that has like that many floors. Yeah, it's gotta be way more expensive. But a door, like a password, only stops you if you don't beat the DV of its lock. So unless the GM has specifically made it a much more difficult door, and I was looking at it for like costs of building in that architecture. Adding passwords, right? A password with a number of a DV to beat the feature, it goes up to 12, and a DV 12 is $10,000. It's 10. 10,000. So with this program, you could bamf past the highest DV password, and there you go. If you're able to skip an entire net architecture, I feel like this is something that's like a 5,000 eddy program, and I don't want to put it that high. What if we... Okay. Thought. What if the Nightcrawler booster program, 100 EB, the effect is it increases all slide checks you make by +2 as long as the program remains pressed. That's it. That's all it does. And then we can either add a piece of hardware, or we can create a $5,000 Cyberdeck, which, if you have the Nightcrawler booster program, right, it only accepts Nightcrawler booster programs. It only has one slot. But it allows you to teleport. It gives the teleportation feature. Because here's the thing, like, and they're like, I don't want to make a net architecture useless, right? So there needs to be something. Trying to think. How do we make it so it's not completely broken? We could, I mean, the simplest answer, I suppose, is that if you don't, like, you can't use Pathfinder to Banff, but I feel like that takes away from it. Using the program could run the risk of damaging your deck or even the runner somehow. That's true. That's true. Or, I guess the other easy thing is you can only teleport up to 3 floors farther than you. So you can't jump an entire architecture. Or maybe for any floor that you try to go past that, you take 2d6 damage up to, like, directly to your HP up to a maximum of 4. Which even in a small net architecture, which even if it only has like 5 floors and you can jump 3, right? You get into the first floor, you jump through, which means generally you're at the floor one before the bottom. You could do that simply, or you could, you know, push yourself for 2d6 damage directly to your HP and get to that 5th floor. How many floors do I want to be able to skip, though? Maybe just 1, skip past 1, and every floor after that is 2d6 damage, up to a maximum of 4. Like, times 4, so at worst you're taking 8d6 damage directly to your HP. Which will probably kill you. How do I word this? Okay. Teleport to the floor beyond the next, i.e. to floor 3 from floor 1 or floor 6 from floor 4. So essentially you get to skip a level, right? Let me try to teleport further, but for every floor skipped, they take 2d6 damage. They take 2d6 damage. Maximum floors that can be skipped, or sorry, 2d6 damage directly to their HP. Maximum floors that can be skipped this way. Up to 4 floors can be skipped using teleport. Or using this action? I suppose makes more sense. Additionally, teleporting takes up the Netrunner's slide ability for the turn. Okay. I think that makes it more viable. I'm still going to make it cost 500 because being able to teleport is pretty snazzy. Especially like even if you're fighting your way down this massive net architecture and you can see what's coming up like deeper down and you're like, I really don't want to hit this. I'm just gonna boof past it. Then yeah, you can boof past. So I think that's what I've got. I think I'm okay with this. I still think only once per net run. So it says teleporting alerts bypass programs, allowing them to follow you and catch up on a failed future slide. If you don't limit it. That is possible too. That is possible too. Okay. Because at that point, even if they skip the entire net architecture, at the top of the turn, all of those programs are rezzed, and because movement is a free action, they would all come down on you. But then why wouldn't you, like, say, use Pathfinder, see to the end of the architecture, say you have, like, because they only have three actions per turn, right? So, jack in I don't think counts as one. Maybe it does. Jacking in. Then you boost, or you activate your program that gives you bonus to Pathfinder check. You use your Pathfinder check, right? That's 3, you're done. Next turn, you boost up Nightcrawler. You bamf. I suppose you would download the file, but then you're done. And then everything could attack you. After that, because you would need to be, what, level 7 to get a 4th net action per turn? Because that's my fear is like, so then if you had 4, right? If I look at like Caming or Deeps, they have 4. Jack in, boost your Sia program, run your Pathfinder, boost, res Nightcrawler. Next turn, bamf to the end of the thing, alert everything. Download the file, jack out. Cloak maybe, scrub your presence, and jack out. You could still do it in 1 turn. Right? That's kind of my worry, is I don't want to make an architecture irrelevant. I do like triggering other things. If it's going to be, you can teleport anywhere. If I limit it, because I feel like that's part of Nightcrawler's power, right? Is that he gets to be super stealthy and he can just go boof, 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 and you don't see him. You know, if I make it the slide action, the teleport is like equivalent of a slide action. You can only do it once. But see, if you can only do it once per run, I might keep it as once per run, even with the limit of you can't go multiple floors. I was thinking of allowing it multiple times, but if you try to use it more than once, you take humanity loss. Oh, wait. Crap, hang on. I am not factoring in something very important that I need to factor in, and I don't know if it's in this interface book that I have open. It's not in this interface book that I have open. I know it's not. Why was I looking? What is it? 6 gun? Yeah, if they are on 6 gun from Hornets Pharmaceuticals, their speed goes up, which is great. Any unsafe jackouts chooses safe jackout, fantastic. But for those 4 hours, once per turn, they can take 1 point of humanity loss to gain an additional net action. So they could have up to, so when you start, you could have 4 net actions. If you're at 4, you can have 5 net actions per turn. If I think about that. So I'm going to limit it to once per net run. And I think that's what I'll do, where you can skip 1 floor, fine. If you try to skip beyond that, up to 4 floors, because I feel like that's safe. Not, you can't go more than 4. But you also take damage directly to your HP. I think that's balanced. I'd have to test it on a net run. So for now, I'm gonna say 500. You get +2 to slide checks, and once per run, you can use one of your net actions to teleport, taking damage if you do more than just skip a singular floor. And I think that's okay. We'll have to test it out. I'll have to test it out at some point. There we go. thank you all so much for joining me on this, premiere episode of Moving to Night City. I hope you guys enjoyed bringing both Gambit and Nightcrawler into the time of the Red. But I do like it bringing them in, not just as like characters in the world, but how we can add, Gambit to the world in a way that anybody can use them. And I think using them as like gear, weapons, or anything, it just makes it a little more fun. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. And if you're a member of my Patreon, you'll get things a little early. You'll get some behind the scenes, Moving to Night City, the full VODs. I will edit out like the break times and the start times and the end screen. I'll cut all that down. But full VODs will be released to Patreon members of Malier Zero Tier. Otherwise, edited episodes where I'll break them down like per character. So I'll release just Gambit and I'll release just Nightcrawler. Those will be on YouTube eventually. As their own little segment and section. So you can follow me on YouTube for that. Anyway, you will get Moving to Night City content there. Patreon, if you're a paying member, you'll get the full VOD and you'll get it earlier. Also, I released some new homebrew for Patreon members earlier this week. I released Ziggurat Apps, which is the Ziggurat app store, and 6 different apps, including Elflines. Elflines? Did I say Elflines or Elflands? I should have made it Elflines if it's not. Elflines Next Top Model. And there's that one. There's Stuff It and Castle. There's 6 different apps that kind of range from ridiculous to helpful maybe. And let me know what you think. That will be released to the public on Tuesday. So if you want access to that, the link will be on Blue Sky or promotion channels in Discord, or you can become a free member of the Patreon, and you'll know once that releases for free. But there we go. Thank you all so much for being here, for joining in. Please let me know what you thought of the segment. If you're excited to see more, if this was fun for you. I don't know. I had fun. I don't know if it was fun for you guys. So any feedback would be really, 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 really appreciated. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day, and meow for now.